Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about never not tipping again. Doordash customer says not tipping backfired in a big way. So on Doordash UberEats Grubhub, really any gig app that has a very heavy tip dependency, there's this prospect of no tip, no trip, and that is hold tried and true for the longest time. That said, we now have a customer claiming that she had a horrendous experience not tipping their driver, and it backfired in a big way on her. So this will be interesting to read about. So with that said, we are talking about everything that is being said in this article, how it actually is for Doordash, UberEats, and Grubhub drivers and customers, and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. A Doordash customer is promising never again not tip her driver after doing so backfired in a big way. TikTok user Caitlin at WhoTF is Caitlin posted a video 4 days ago that has since racked up more than 700,000 views. In the video, she is walking outside with a bag of takeout in her hand while lip syncing to Frank Ocean's Nights. The things you do for content, huh? I'm going to leave our TikTok as well as our profile in the description so you can develop your own opinions on the subject. And in the text overlay, she wrote, "Never not tipping on Doordash again. This was the first time I've not tipped, and the Doordash left it so far away in a corner in the sun, making me play hide and seek with my pokey. Took me 20 minutes to find it, and when I finally got to it, the fish was cooked. I ordered raw salmon." First off, let's acknowledge the main point that I know that everybody is going to point out. The driver shouldn't have accepted the order, and overall, it's no tip, no trip. Not no tip, make the customer play hide and seek. Not no tip, do the order anyway, begrudgingly. Not no tip, expected cash tip after. No tip, no trip. It's that simple. It shouldn't even have made it that far. And second, it is impressive that it was so hot out that the fish was cooked. I'm sure it was an exaggeration, but I could definitely imagine that being the case, you know? In the video's caption, Caitlin clarifies, "The way I always tip, but this was the first time I didn't." In the comment section, users offered sympathy and advice for how Caitlin should move forward. You know what? Before we even see how Caitlin should move forward, quote unquote, here's the thing about ordering on Doordash. If you're gonna not tip your driver, you have to intentionally do that. You can accidentally tip just the default, but not tipping your driver, you have to go out of your way for it. Like, you have to go from the middle default section to the custom amount, type in 000 or whatever that means. Hit confirm. A pop-up's gonna come up and say, "Hey, orders with no tip are gonna take longer. Are you sure you want to do this?" You say you want to do it, and then you move forward. That is what it takes to not tip your driver. Tipping your driver the default, that means you're just going through all the prompts normally without hitting custom at all. So the fact that that even happened, that's your own damn fault in every way. The way you always tip, I wouldn't be surprised if that was not true either. One user wrote, "Girl, I would just file a complaint with Doordash and get your money back." A second user said, "This is when I called Doordash and suddenly I get my food for free." You see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, as the driver, they're gonna get the complaint for that. They're gonna get their ratings docked. Why would you deal with that? Why would you choose to work with customers that don't tip their drivers? That just doesn't make sense to me. A third user said, "As someone that dashes on the side for fun money, I just won't accept the no-tip orders. LOL. Doing something like this just to run into the risk of losing the ability to deliver is silly." I agree, 100%. There's no reason to. Not only do you not want to work with customers like that for the sake of not getting paid what you want, you risk the rating, you risk the violation, you risk the account in general. There's just no value in doing that. For what? The acceptance rate going a tick higher so you can get the Dasher reward reward system. If you're in a market that is that saturated that you have to have it, I guess. I am just more of a proponent of multi-apping and not being super dependent on an app like DoorDash anyway. And another person wrote, I hate this because I'm gonna tip in cash. Don't be rude before I even get the chance to tip you. You had the chance to tip me on the app. You're choosing to lie about tipping in cash because 9 times out of 10, the people who tip in cash are the same people that tip on the app before as well. People who typically say they tip in cash after service are lying straight through their teeth, and they're saying that for the sake of social media, and they're shit people that gaslight you. They're the worst kind of person to work with, and of course they cheated on their girlfriend or boyfriend. Someone else said, well, yeah, DoorDash only offers something like $2 to deliver order, so you need to tip to entice someone into taking your order. When you don't tip, your food waits around for a long time and bad service. Is it bad service? Or is it like it really took an hour for somebody to even want to accept the order in the first place? Like, think about it like this. If it's gonna be a $2 order, it's gonna go up by like a quarter every now and then. It's not gonna be like 3 or 4 times when it happens. It's gonna be a significant number of times when that happens. And then finally, somebody's gonna accept it when it's like a decent sized base pay. And that's when the order gets delivered. It was probably sitting for a long time. Then they did what they did with the freaking order itself, putting it in the corner in the hot sun, forcing it to cook. So it's probably more than 20 minutes of overall cook time. Either way, I wouldn't call that necessarily bad service in terms of just accepting a no-tip order. In terms of what this driver did, yeah, that was the bad service. Dashers get revenge on customers who don't tip. This is obviously not the first time a DoorDasher saw revenge on a customer who didn't tip. Back in January, a woman went viral after her DoorDasher left a rude note for not leaving a tip. Except the woman was actually planning on giving cash. Another woman sparked an outcry after admitting she once withheld straws from a customer who ordered nearly $1,000 in smoothies without tipping. But the problem with that logic is that you shouldn't be accepting no-tip orders. 9 times out of 10, that's a contactless delivery, so you're not even getting the chance to tip in cash anyway. And they're lying through their teeth almost every time. It's too much of a risk to work with bad people. Why would you do that to yourself? Late last year, DoorDash added a warning to customers not adding a tip that the decision could result in longer wait times. Orders with no tip may take longer to get delivered. Are you sure you want to continue? The prompt reads. Like I said, DoorDash is now telling you that's the case. You're choosing not to. That is an intentional choice. So it's not, oh, you always tip and you decided not to now. You just chose to be a crap person, and that's what happened. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. Maybe it was a moment of weakness. Maybe that's just for social media. Maybe it was whatever. But I'm glad she's learning her lesson about making sure she tips her drivers. Because I'll tell you what, it's not worth it for us to work with no-tip customers. It's not worth it for the customer to really get those orders. It's not worth it for the customer to receive that kind of service because you are intentionally giving yourself bad service or the equivalent of bad service. It's not worth it for the company because, hey, they don't want to work with people like that either. They intentionally deactivate accounts that do scammy crap, especially with refund methods. It's not worth it for the merchant because now they made an order just for it to sit on the counter for 20 minutes. You know, assuming that they do their job effectively. So for drivers, the rule of thumb is, has, and always will be no tip, no trip. Not no tip, do the order anyway begrudgingly. Not no tip, do something to their order or make them play hide and seek for it. Not no tip, try to get a tip later in cash. No tip, no trip. It is that simple. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.